Hey guys, PsyStarcraft here, and before I say anything else, I just want to apologize to all of you for bringing you another one-part replay, just because I've played a lot of games. I've played about 15 games or 17 games in one-on-one, and even more games in teams, just because I have so many friends and everybody loves me, that I just haven't really gotten a long, good one-on-one game. And so this is just going to be another one-parter here, but it is a good one, I promise you. It actually utilizes a build I learned from day 9. A lot of you might be pretty familiar with it. So it's going to be a Zerg on Steps of War. And one thing I have to tell you is I hate Banelings. I freaking hate Banelings in Zerg versus Zerg. I think the unit is awesome. I just don't like the whole Ling Baneling game in a Zerg versus Zerg, especially on Steps of War when it's a two-player map that is so darn close. And look at this, because it is a two-player map, we are both sending out scouts very, very fast. Any kind of cheese rush from Zergs, like a 10 pool or even an earlier pool, 7 pool, 6 pool, we want to try to scout out and get down our pool as fast as we can. And there's a very interesting dynamic in this kind of scouting, mutual scouting, that I want to tell you guys about. So now we each know what's going on the other person's base, and neither of us have a pool. So what we're going to do is we're going to try to take an eco advantage as soon as we can by not getting our pool first. You'll notice he's at 13, I'm at 15. Neither of us are getting a pool because whoever submits to getting that spawning pool first will have to forfeit their any kind of economic advantage. So I see, okay, pool going down for him. Now I'm good. I can put down my pool and not worry about any Ling rushes. So already, if we look at the income, I am a little bit ahead, 14 to 13. I was 13 to 12 a second ago, so already small advantage on my side, but he does have his gas sooner. So you'll notice he has about 40 gas compared to my 0 gas, 15 to 14 harvesters now, and this is all because of this slower pool. Now, it's not going to make a huge difference. It's not going to make or break the game, but it will kind of help me a little bit. Now, 15 to 16, he has pulled ahead just a tid. And we should see it evening out here in a second. Pool almost finishing for me. Actually, it's kind of curious how he is pulled ahead of me right now. Wonder why that was. I think I got... Oh, okay. This is where I made a mistake. I got an extra overload on accident. You'll see I'm at 17 out of 34. So we should be about even right now. Despite all I said earlier about the eco, I should be slightly ahead. But immediately after my pool finished, I put down my Roach Warren just because, like I said, I hate Banelings, and look what he's doing. He's putting down a Baneling nest. Now, I'm going to keep my Overlord out here to see what he has. I see he has about 4 Zerglings. I don't see the Baneling nest in his base, although that's what I am assuming. So now 17 to 15 drones. Roach Warren is up, and the thing about a Roach Warren is, if we look at the Baneling nest, it takes 60 seconds in-game to build. Roach Warren only takes 55, so he could maneuver some Lings into my base. I would see them, and then transform them into Banelings before I'm able to block off my choke with any roaches. But he's not choosing to do that this game. He is sending in 4 Zerglings, but by the time these Zerglings get here, I will have some roaches ready to defend, and even with these 4 Lings, my queen with drones will be just fine. I'm keeping very close eye on these drones right here, making sure he doesn't try to pick one off, and I'm able to scare him off with some roaches. And you'll notice now, once I hit the critical number of roaches, about 3 or 4, and block this ramp, his Baneling nest is going to be wasted. It takes 8 Banelings to kill 1 roach. So he'd have to send 8 up here, count on me not microing anything, and just hit all 3 of them with every single Baneling to kill these roaches, and that's assuming he's able to get that many Banelings in time. He has about 70 gas after the speed, so he doesn't have the gas to supply that first of all, and assuming I don't do any kind of microing. So because I'm able to fortify my position with such few roaches, only 4 roaches, 5 roaches, and an extra queen here, you'll notice, I am able to get tons of harvesters and scare him into putting down some spines. This is absolutely detrimental. You never want to have to put down spines in a Zerg versus Zerg, especially on Steps of War. This is going to cost him the game, possibly, just because 14 to 22, I've got roaches to his Banelings, and so what he's going to do is he's going to like kind of get scared, go lair, and he's going to be putting down a spire here very, very soon. Just imagine how much faster he'd be able to put down that spire if he didn't get these 3 spine crawlers, if he didn't waste all this money on these Lings, while these roaches are going to come into play a little bit later. Now the reason I have 2 queens right now, so early in a Zerg versus Zerg with only one base is because I plan on extending my creep tumor out and going a mass queen roach strategy. It was first pioneered by Zelnik, I believe. I played a game against him, and Day 9 covered it extensively. It's a very, very strong build on Zerg versus Zerg on Steps of War, and it basically stops anything. If you get Mutalisks, you should have about 4 queens or so by the time the enemy gets Mutalisks. And this is a pretty fast Spire build, halfway done, and what am I at? 2 queens right now. I should be pumping out a third pretty quick. There's that third one, as well as roach speed. And if we look at the economy, I am at 21 harvesters on minerals. So that is perfect. That's about where I want to be. Every drone is going to be on a mineral at all times with that many drones. And you'll notice some of you have been saying, why are you getting the burrow? Or why are you getting burrow movement, Psy? Well, they actually switched the icon. So the speed is actually glial reconstitution down here. It looks like it used to be the burrow one, but it's not. It's speed. So I've got this contained. No amount of banelings can really bust through, especially once my speed comes up and on that creep. And he is continuing to play scared. Way too many defenses. Zerg defenses are the worst to get economically because, you know, with the toss, okay, I'm going to put down a cannon. That's cannon, 150 minerals, but I'll just go back and mine. Zerg, you lose a drone as well. You're losing a lot of mining time, especially when you aren't even maxed out on your minerals as it is. So he's losing a lot of mining time from this. He's not even using his Baneling Nest. Muta's just now coming out. I actually morphed in an Overseer just to try to see what he had, sending in a little Changeling here. And I do see that Spine wall and some Lings and a Muta. But when I made this Overseer, I was like, you know, this is probably a bad idea. I'm going to lose a lot of money here. And this is exactly what happened. I'm trying to frantically send my Overseer back, and I'm even sending in my Queen to try to meet it and give it a transfuse, but it's not even going to get close. This entire game, though, I am up 26 to 17 harvesters. I now have 4 queens. 4 queens against, you know, 7 or 8 mutas will be just fine. Maybe even more than that, depending on how much energy you have and how much transfusions you do. But this game is just kind of demonstrating the decision making. Lots of roaches. We've got 19 roaches to 26 lings, and then 5 mutas to 4 queens, partially because he can't fund it all, but even if he could fund a heavy amount of zerglings and mutas with full saturation, he's not going to be able to beat this army. So I've got 4 queens, a 5th queen coming out, and what you can do is train a queen, inject larva, and then move that queen out. Train a queen, inject larva, move it out. And yeah, you're going to be injecting a little bit slower than you want to. You know, you might have to inject twice with 1 queen, but it's actually a pretty efficient method of spreading out the energy on your queen. So we have 150, 82, 110, 50 on these queens, and now putting down my expansion, going to secure my lead. He's putting down his as well. I do know that he has mutas, and at this point I'm feeling pretty good. I even have my attack 1 upgrade. I could move out at any point right now, but right now I just want to spread my creep and give my queens a little bit of movement to room for movement on this creep. And one thing I could have done better is spread a lot more creep tumors a lot faster, because I waited much too long for all these queens to spread all this creep. So they have a little ways to go up there. And he's actually going to help me out if he does choose to spread as well. So we'll see if he does that. Unfortunately, I can't really push out too far with my Overlords just because they don't have speed. And also, the mutas will just pick them off. So doing a little bit of harassment here. Queens are just going to move up and shoo those away. And I even got infestors. Now this is one thing that's a little different from when Day 9 demonstrated this build from Zelnik, is he didn't go lair tech. I didn't really need infestors. Just think about it. What do I need these for? Mutas? No. I have my queens for that. Do I need infested Terrans? No, I have my queens for that as well, although it would be some nice support with the roaches. Maybe get them up here while the roaches shoot around here, but not very necessary. Neuroparasite? No, of course not. Not in a Zerg versus Zerg. The only unit you'd maybe want to parasite is, you know, a Mutalisk, or I don't know, not really a roach. You'd want a fungal growth that. So these infestors weren't really necessary. This is just me being a little bit too horny for these little Zerg Reavers here. So still looking pretty good. Eco-wise, way ahead. This player is just neglecting his economy altogether. A little bit of a transfer there, 1 on each, but he basically lost once he went down so far in economy. But this build, even with a good player, with a lot of look at my transfusions on this roach, trying to get some in there. A lot of them actually going down. Fungal growth on the Mutalisks. Queens just shooting away. Not as fast as they could be, though. Roach is easily taking out those Zerglings and the Spine Crawlers. Mutas continuing to be fungal growth. Could even pop out some infested Terrans right now, but these Queens are going to be well enough. They weren't even being focused down by the Mutas. And that's going to be it right there. But as I was saying, even if, you know, he was training ample amount of units, this build is still extremely strong, and he knows it. I guess he appreciated the Mass Queens. But that's just a strategy for you guys. A quick little video to tide you over while I try to get a two-parter. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned a lot, because this build can work. Check out some of Day9's videos and see. But that's it. Thanks for watching.